Wes Anderson is one of my favorite directors. Beyond the iconic fairy tale aesthetic, his movies evoke nostalgia for a time or place that no longer exists. The Royal Tenenbaums looks into family dynamics, Moonrise Kingdom explores adolescence, and Fantastic Mr. Fox is about our innate nature. In comes Asteroid City, which is peak Wes Anderson, for better or for worse. With an all-star cast larger than any of his previous films, Asteroid City is a contradiction. It's both his loosest narrative, which is saying a lot, while simultaneously smothered in subtext. This film is a head-scratcher, but there's an underlying message that I feel nobody's talking about. It's gonna be impossible to talk about this without diving in deep, so spoiler warning ahead. And work with me on the clip since the movie isn't out yet. On the surface, this film recounts a world-famous play that's adapted for TV and follows a father and his children attending a stargazing summit. But along the way, he breaks the news of their mother's death and must confront his own grief. Is Asteroid City and its residents a symbol for the grieving process? Is the isolation characters face in the stargazing summit a commentary on post-quarantine society? Is Jeff Goldblum actually an alien? And was actor Jones Hall, who plays the character Augie Steinbeck in the play, grieving more than just his wife's death? The film hints at a secret character arc that isn't overtly stated. I believe Conrad Earp, the playwright, kills himself, and Jones Hall is the only person who knows his true fate. The film subtly mentioned Conrad's death in a car crash, which seems to hit Jones a lot harder than any of the other characters. Which makes sense, right? After all, in one of the few scenes taking place outside of the TV broadcast or play itself, we discover that they are in fact secret lovers. Later on in the film, with the playwright dead, Jones literally leaves in the middle of a scene to ask Adrien Brody as the director, who's the next logical choice, on what all of this really means. Was Midge Campbell's suicide rehearsal hinting at Conrad using the play to rehearse his own suicide? The opening segment spends a decent chunk of time warning us against the dangers of cars. "You can't wake up if you never fall asleep" is repeated like a mantra for someone falling asleep forever. If you replace falling asleep with dying and waking up with understanding the meaning of life, the mantra gets us, you can't understand the meaning of life without dying. Jones Hall is desperately trying to figure out if his lover left cries for help. Did Conrad leave signs in his play? Like the alien stealing and returning the asteroid, it's ambiguous. There may or may not have been a deeper meaning. Regardless, Conrad Earp is gone now, and there's no way to ask him. Like Adrien Brody tells Jones Hall, it doesn't matter. Just keep telling the story, you're doing great. While the extraterrestrial segment is the most memorable part of the film, Asteroid City isn't a science fiction alien encounter movie. The otherworldly encounter is a backdrop that forces characters to confront themselves and change. Just within the family, Brainiac finally blooms and gains the courage to kiss the girl that he likes. Tom Hanks' grandfather character finds some genuine respect and love for his son-in-law. And Augie finally allows himself to move on from his wife's death and grief, open to a budding romance with Scarlett Johansson's character. Love it or hate it, Asteroid City's meta-narrative raises existential questions as its quirky characters experience meaningful change by the end credits. Overall, I feel like there is one character or plotline too many, and the play within TV premise can distract away from the larger themes, but there's enough substance underneath all of the style to make Asteroid City worth a watch. This movie is also pretty funny. I'm wavering somewhere between a 7 and an 8, but Indiana Jones and the Dial of Disappointment is making me feel more generous, so let's go with an 8. Did you think there's something more to Conrad's death, or is this just a bunch of baloney? And if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a like to help get it across more people. Thanks, and see you on the next one.